In Season 1 of Big Sky, long-haul trucker Ronald Pergman kidnaps a prostitute Jerrie and teenage sisters Danielle and Grace Sullivan. When the sisters are reported missing, Danielle's boyfriend Justin alerts his parents, former cops Cody and Jenny Hoyt. The two had recently separated, and Cody had begun an affair with his private detective partner Cassie. Cody begins looking into the missing girls and eventually teams up with State Trooper Rick Legarsky. Rick informs Cody that many more young women had gone missing in the area, but when Cody theorizes that a long-haul trucker could be the culprit, Rick shoots and kills him. It turns out Rick and Ronald were working together to kidnap young women and sell them into human trafficking. Unfortunately for them, the media frenzy surrounding Danielle and Grace's disappearance has made buyers reluctant. And when Rick and Ronald discover that Jerrie was actually trans, she also becomes difficult to sell. Meanwhile, Jenny and Cassie team up to investigate not only the missing girls case, but also to find Cody, who they aren't aware has been murdered. Realizing Cody was last seen with Rick, the women begin to suspect the trooper may be involved in the case. They illegally track Rick's car to the Alyn truck stop. Jenny is arrested for tracking a police vehicle, but when Cassie investigates the truck stop, she finds the missing girls and is forced to shoot Rick in self-defense. Jerrie, Danielle, and Grace are saved, and Cody's body is discovered. Following Cody's funeral, Jenny and Cassie help each other grieve and decide to officially become investigative partners. Following the shooting, Rick now suffers from memory loss, and his accomplice Ronald was on the run. Fortunately, Jerrie is able to describe Ronald's face for a detailed police sketch, which successfully identifies the kidnapper to the public. When Ronald's overbearing mother Helen plans on turning him over to the authorities, he is forced to murder her. Cassie, Jenny, and the police race to catch Ronald, but the kidnapper manages to escape. Meanwhile, Rick's wife Marilee realizes what a monster her husband truly was, and that he was faking his memory loss, leading to Marilee murdering Rick in his own hospital bed. I want to cut in real quick and tell you about this video's sponsor, Hero Wars.
Hey, what about my world?
Hero Wars is a game filled with epic battles and an incredible array of unlockable characters.
Hero Wars has vibrant graphics, cool gameplay, and a user-friendly interface.
And you can download it right now and play for free.
Tell them more about it.
One of the things I love most about Hero Wars is all of the unique characters that can appeal to pretty much anyone. It's not just knights and princesses, they've got cyborgs, aliens, vampires. I've been playing for over a month now, and I'm nowhere near unlocking all of them. You can even customize your heroes with new unlockable outfits. Hero Wars is super addicting, and I can play it in almost any setting, including when I'm watching TV or supposed to be making a recap. Hero Wars has 6 unique game modes, more than 300 Guild Wars servers, and 100 million players. You can play alone or see how your team stacks up against your friends. If you download the game now, you'll get 30,000 coins, 600 emeralds, and 5 awesome heroes to start dominating Hero Wars right away. So scan the QR code or click the link in the description below and play Hero Wars now. 3 months later, Jenny and Cassie take on their next case, which involves the wealthy and powerful Kleinsasser family, led by the ailing rancher patriarch Horst Kleinsasser. He's married to Margaret, and together they have 3 sons, Blake, John Wayne, and Rand, and a daughter, Cheyenne. Jenny used to date Horst's eldest child, Blake, who calls for Jenny's help after he is wrongfully accused of drunkenly assaulting a ranch caretaker's daughter named Rosie. Jenny believes that the Kleinsasser family are framing Blake to rid him from their ranch and prevent him from interfering with their nefarious schemes. Those suspicions are confirmed when Horst announces his plans to pass over Blake in order to allow his middle son, John Wayne, to inherit the ranch. Blake feels a lot of guilt over his previous involvement with his family's various crimes, including murders and illegally dumping toxic waste. Blake digs up evidence of his involvement in the family's cover-up of a murder at the hands of youngest son Rand, but JW confronts him and impulsively kills him. The Kleinsassers then work together to cover up Blake's murder. As Jenny and Cassie begin their investigation into the Kleinsassers, they realize that the family's power extends to controlling the local sheriff, which seriously hinders their case. When John Wayne and Rand violently confront the private detectives, both men end up dead. When the sheriff arrives to investigate, Jenny manages to record him confessing to various crimes at the command of the Kleinsassers, leading to his arrest. Ultimately, Margaret and and Cheyenne, tired of sitting by while the men run their family into the ground, take control of the ranch from the ailing Horst and watch as he succumbs to his illness and dies. Meanwhile, U.S. Marshal Mark Linder arrives in town to help Jenny and Cassie find Ronald Pergman. Also now working alongside the private detectives is Ronald's former victim Jerrie. It turns out Ronald has changed his look and identity and was living in secret as a man named Arthur. He was also now dating a woman named Scarlett, a single mother raising her young daughter Phoebe. When Scarlett's sister Mary grows suspicious of Arthur and starts to piece together his true identity, Ronald is forced to kill Mary. As police begin to look into Mary's disappearance, Scarlett reveals that not only does she know that Arthur is Ronald, but that she had previously murdered an abusive ex and stashed his body in Mary's basement. Ronald and Scarlett profess their love for each other and race to Mary's house to hide the body. Unfortunately, they were too late. Ronald acts as if he's kidnapping Scarlett to give her an alibi for the police, and is then captured and taken into custody by Mark and Jerrie. While in jail, Ronald makes a deal with Mark to expose key figures in the human trafficking ring and to take the police to the bodies of his victims in exchange for not receiving the death penalty. While driving to Ronald's various locations, the police are attacked by armed men, who rescue Ronald and shoot Jenny, leaving her for dead. As Jenny tends to her wounds, Cassie grabs an assault rifle, steals a police car, and races after Ronald. In Season 2 of Big Sky, Ronald Pergman once again evades capture and several weeks pass. Unfortunately for Ronald, he winds up captured by someone much worse than the police. Wolf Legarsky, the twin brother of Rick Legarsky, captures Ronald, Scarlett, and Phoebe, imprisoning them in his compound. He and his wife Agatha want to train Ronald and Scarlett like dogs to become subservient, with Wolf's ultimate goal being to have Ronald take full responsibility for the human trafficking crimes, clearing Rick's name. Ronald does briefly escape Wolf's compound, but instead of running away, he decides to visit Cassie's office to threaten her into stopping her search for him. But instead of finding Cassie, he finds her father Joseph and murders him. Wolf then recaptures Ronald and finally decides to kill him and Scarlett. As Wolf and Agatha attempt to murder their prisoners, Ronald and Scarlett manage to fight back, killing Agatha and leaving Wolf for dead before fleeing the compound with Phoebe. Ronald suffered some serious injuries in his fight with Wolf, so Scarlett tracks down a doctor and holds him hostage to tend to Ronald's wounds. Cassie and Mark are continuing in their search to take down Ronald, and along the way begin to develop feelings for each other. When they finally track Ronald to Wolf's compound, they find that Wolf survived Ronald's attack. He reveals his entire plan to rehabilitate Ronald's psycho persona, and that he had installed a tracking device in Ronald. The trio use this tracker to find the doctor's home. Inside, the doctor manages to stab Scarlett before Ronald kills him. Wolf and Mark are both shot in a gunfight, though Mark does survive his wounds. Cassie and Ronald then get into a fight to the death, resulting in Cassie finally killing Ronald once and for all. Scarlett manages to escape, but after finally realizing that Phoebe would never be safe in her care, decides to leave her daughter with Cassie before running away for good. Meanwhile, after recovering from her gunshot wound, Jenny decides she could do more good by officially joining the county sheriff department, working under Sheriff Tubb. Her first case is to investigate a supposed drug deal gone bad, resulting in a crashed truck, a missing driver, and a lot of missing drugs and money. Four teenage friends, Max, Harper, Madison, and Bridger, had stumbled upon the crash site and stolen the drugs and money, without realizing how in over their heads they now were, with both the police and rival drug members searching for the missing stash. One of those teenagers, Max, also worked as a babysitter for Cassie's young son Kai. When Cassie is hired by a woman named Tanya, wife of the murdered truck driver, the private investigator joins her old partner Jenny on the case. Meanwhile, Ren Buller, daughter of the cartel's leader Veer, arrives in town with her violent enforcer Dono to recover the missing drugs and money. Ren hires Tanya to work alongside her in the cartel, and the widow proves herself to be a valuable and cutthroat employee. Fortunately for Jenny, she had an ally on the inside of the drug operation, as her former boyfriend Travis was currently working as an undercover cop who had already infiltrated one of the cartel's dealers. Travis had a personal grudge against the Bullers as he had turned Veer's mistress Kate into an informant. When Veer discovered Kate's betrayal, he had her killed, which Travis blamed himself for. Travis's allegiances were very complicated, as he is an undercover cop working alongside Jenny, he's trying to infiltrate the Buller family cartel, and he is an enforcer working alongside gang leader Dietrich, a dealer for the Bullers who also wants to find and take the stolen drugs and money for himself. Throughout the season, various people attempt to get their hands on the stolen cash, including Ren, Dono, Dietrich's disloyal henchman Bob, and even the abusive boyfriend of Max's mother. Ultimately, Travis gets his hands on the money and decides to hand it over to Ren, securing himself a position in her family's cartel and putting an end to the violently escalating search for the stash. When Dietrich's henchman Bob exposes Travis's true identity as a cop to Ren, Travis murders Bob in front of Ren to prove his loyalty. Meanwhile, Ren's family, her brother Jag, father Veer, and Veer's girlfriend Alicia arrive in town to set up a more permanent operation there. Veer's old associate Vikram had stolen all of the Bullers' money, and in retaliation, Veer tried to have Vikram killed. Vikram managed to escape, and so now the threat of further violence loomed over the Buller family. Although Ren had developed an extensive and intelligent plan to expand their operations in Montana, her father is unimpressed by the way she handled the hunt for the missing drugs, and instead places her unreliable brother Jag in charge. Ren and Jag quickly realized that they would need to work together to dethrone their father as leader, as Veer was making increasingly more volatile moves for the cartel, including lacing their drugs with fentanyl, causing several local overdoses. One such overdose was the teenage son of a local recovering addict named Richard. Richard wanted revenge for his son's death, first shooting and hospitalizing Sheriff Tubb, then holding both Jag and Veer at gunpoint. Veer allows Richard to shoot Jag before the police arrive at the scene. Jag survives his injuries and becomes more emboldened in his quest to overthrow his father. Ren reveals to Travis that she knows he's an undercover cop looking for revenge for Kate, allowing him a chance to kill Veer. As Travis begins to beat Veer to death, the cartel leader reveals to Travis that Kate was in fact still alive, and that's when Jenny arrives with the town's new interim sheriff, Beau Alyn, who was placed in charge while Sheriff Tubb recovered from his wounds. Veer is taken to the hospital and Travis is arrested for attempted murder. As Jenny drives Travis to the police station, Travis reveals that Kate is still alive. Jenny then releases Travis from his handcuffs and allows him to escape to search for Kate. At the hospital, Jag murders his father and leaves with Ren. Although Ren had intended to step up as the new head of the cartel, Veer's girlfriend Alicia reveals that she had secretly convinced him to leave her in charge. And so Ren was forced to make a decision: work with Alicia or pay her to leave. As the season comes to a close, Jenny and Cassie have a drink with the new sheriff, Beau. What new case awaits for the trio in the future? We'll have to watch season 3 to find out.